Chris is an archaeologist who still can't recover from the childhood trauma of someone murdering his entire family. Hoping to change something in his life, he travels to Yugoslavia, to the castle where his father once lived and worked, searching for an entrance to the tomb of an ancient prince named Aliff. He's accompanied by Jenny, Chris's girlfriend and publisher, and photographer Paul with his girlfriend, model Marcy. But once they arrive, Chris begins to experience ghostly visions from his past, making him dangerous to everyone around him. There's probably a moment in every filmmaker's career when everything on a project starts going wrong, yet no decisive person shows up to pull the plug. So the film gets finished on sheer grit and patched together however possible, just to finally release it and forget about it like a bad dream. Schizo is exactly that kind of movie, and a lot becomes clear when you look closely at the story behind its creation. The film's plot was written by Jackie Earle Haley, the future Freddy Krueger of the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, and at the time simply an unlucky actor who couldn't shake off the baggage of his childhood roles. Haley came up with a story about repressed memories and an ancient mummy that drives its victim insane, heavily influenced by Stephen King's The Shining. For a while, he hoped to direct the movie himself, but his path diverged from that of Smart Egg, the company that bought the idea, and in the end, the screenplay credit went to the obvious pseudonym Keaton Jones, while the directing job went to fresh film school graduate Manny Coto. In classic B-movie fashion, he was handed a rough script no one wanted to sign with their real name, and a budget that was basically the hole in a donut. How could anyone say no to an offer like that? Cinema is full of stories like this, and Schizo stands out from them only by circumstance. As it turned out, Manny Coto eventually became a cult director and writer, impressing horror fans just a few years later with Dr. Giggles, which sparked curiosity about his debut. And while the debut has plenty of problems, you can still feel the hand of a future genre craftsman at work, and the unusual Serbian locations give the film a memorable atmosphere. If you dig into it, the root of Schizo's troubles lies in the screenplay. Here and there, intriguing ideas peek through, but none of them is developed into anything clear or complete. The obvious parallels with The Shining, for example, don't work because lead actor Christopher McDonald plays his character as nervous and unlikable from the very beginning. His descent into full-on psychopathy is, on one hand, emotionally flat, and on the other, never justified by the script. His companions seem to have traits and details. Paul, for instance, is repeatedly mentioned as an alcoholic in recovery, but none of it affects anything. Secondary storylines, including the subplot with the Yugoslavian driver and the cameo character, played by Vincent Schiavelli, barely impact the main plot and could have easily been left on the cutting room floor. No one would have noticed. And that's only the tip of the iceberg. You could dismantle Schizo's plot brick by brick, tossing nearly every one of them aside as defective, and it wouldn't matter why things ended up this way, whether someone came up with nonsense from the start and nobody bothered to fix it, or whether it was a case of too many cooks spoiling the broth. What matters is that watching the film as a cohesive work is difficult, but nothing stops you from viewing it as a half-full glass, an amusing collection of artifacts from its era. Here you get the full late 80s B-movie package: amateur psychology, exotic locations, uneven acting, low-budget horror makeup, and, saving the best for last, an animatronic mummy puppet that shows up in the third act and reminds you just how popular such monsters were back then. Viewers who grew up on franchises like Critters, House, Ghoulies, and similar films will likely feel something familiar here, something long forgotten. The key is not to treat Schizo as a fully realized movie. It's more of an experience, a stroll through an abandoned amusement park from your childhood, where nothing works anymore, yet your own memories fill every rusty detail with warmth and meaning.